Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network. Coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower Square with your host, Sergeant Friday. Sarge, how you doing?
Cletus, as always, I'm always doing awesome.
Well, there you go.
You know, even that little spat. Remember, I told you I spent 17 hours on hold, being like, I wasn't even being jerked off. To be honest with you, with the IRS, they were just jerking me around.
Right.
Right, but that issue solved very easily, exactly the way it should have been solved. And I'm glad I called and didn't go through any other extraneous thing. It was worth the expense of time. Since some of that time was spent in the pool as well. So, you know.
Sometimes I swear to God, you're the male version of Clue.
We're polar opposites in our appearances, but we do think an awful lot alike. We do a lot of the same shit, and we're like the most productive, lazy people the earth have ever produced. Right or wrong? And nothing we do can interfere with what we want to do, right?
I wouldn't call her lazy. I would just say she's very good at making, getting shit done with the least amount of effort.
Yeah. Well, that's me, but I admit it. I'm lazy, man. Listen, I heard it from enough ex-girlfriends, and even friends, guys. I race cars with and stuff, and it's true. I don't object to being lazy. I mean, why not? Anyway, yeah. So tonight I wanted to make an interesting show and connect some dots politically that people know. Most people, if they've even paid somewhat of attention to our political system, may be very aware of some of these connections. And one thing that never gets talked about, but it does get talked about in the Republican Party, is rifts or divides within that Democratic Party, within the Democratic structure, within the people, within the party and their allegiances and loyalties. It's no different than it is in the Republican Party, where you got John McCain, you got Paul Ryan, you got Mitt Romney, you got that Liz Cheney. I mean, the list goes on and on of people on that side of the political spectrum that hate Trump, right? You're aware of that, aren't you, Cletus, in the Republican Party?
Yeah.
Right. There's a significant number of people in the Republican Party that oppose Trump and always have and always will, because their money, their backing, they're not even so much their ideology, but their corporate sponsors are against Trump. And in the Democratic Party, the exact same thing exists. There is so like in our party, we've got Trump and Republicans that all mainly are against him, but some of them not. Some of them neutral, some of them not so heavily connected to, and this is not going to surprise anybody, somebody not so heavily connected to Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, right? So what a lot of people don't seem to, I think we know this, but we don't connect the significance of this information. When you take Biden's election, and I tell you that it was won because Republicans cheated, and then you look at the Republicans that are connected to Ukraine and all the other nefarious Clinton Foundation places, and you look at that list of Republicans, right? And they're with Biden and Clinton. They're not with you and I. And that's absolutely unequivocally true. It has been for a long time. And many people that are political hearing this will be like, they'll have two opinions. I already fucking knew it. Or I knew all that, but didn't put it together that way. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay. Listen to this as I explain this stuff, because there's a big significance to what we're living through right now, I think.
I don't really disagree.
And your Democratic Party, your rift is the Obamas and the Clintons. Okay? You don't see any connection to Obama or any financial arrangements or schemes or anything coming from the Ukraine or China that you can connect to Biden, but you can connect them to Hillary and her family, and you then can connect them to the many Republicans, all of which I named all the ones that I think everybody knows are popular. They're popularly known Republicans. They're all Bidenites as well, and Clintonites. As a matter of fact, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and John Kasich in the 2016 election took Hillary Clinton's campaign, injected their campaigns with pure cash to try to stop Trump from getting the delegate count. I don't know if you're aware of that, Cletus, but
no, I was not aware of that.
So what I want people to understand is that when I share stuff, I try to base it all on facts, and everything I'm sharing with you, you can go back and check yourselves. There's no bullshit here. Okay, so in the Democratic Party, your opposition is between the Obamas and the Clintons. The Obamas are teamed up with a bunch of people that are connected to the Kennedys, and the proof of that is that in the 28 primary, Hillary Clinton lost because the Kennedys backed Barack Obama. They're backing, and they called it back then the Kennedy clan, and the Kennedy followers within the Democratic Party all swung their weight behind Obama. He got the nomination, and we know the result. But when you go back and look at 08, you'll see that there's a big rift. But then you'll also see that Hillary was mandatedly put in a position, Secretary of State, on the Obama administration. That rift has to work together as much as it can. They can't completely eliminate each other. So you understand that no matter whether you're for a Soros group or if you're for a different group or wherever your backing is politically, within your own party, you have people with different motives and different desires and different corporate fucking orders. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to point out a few things that people may not be aware of, but they're ultra modern and ultra easy to discover. There was a period of time just recently where Joe Biden was found, factually found to have taken money from foreign governments under conditions that would be considered crimes, criminal acts. Almost, they weren't calling them bribes, but you can actually, the Department of Justice refused to prosecute Joe Biden, even though the findings of the investigation suggested that there was unequivocally 100% cause to investigate Biden for crimes, financial crimes, cooperating with foreign governments. And the DOJ passed. And when that happened, that just happened like this year. A lot of Republicans, including myself, you briefly think, well, look, they're surrounding their wagons to protect their candidate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. The Department of Justice is protecting Joe Biden because they're all Democrats and they're all doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But in fact, that was the motive under which they forced him to resign his candidacy. And Joe's counteraction to that was to stand up and say, Kamala takes my place. So what you have is you definitely, and this is now just so you folks realize these connections. Where's Obama standing up and campaigning for Kamala? Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
Can anybody show me where Barack Obama came out and famously endorsed her, supported her candidacy? Can anybody show that? Can anybody Google that? Show us a tweet from him where him and Michelle Obama are happy and grateful and they're behind her? I don't think we can we? And that matters because, again, it shows you how all these connections are working against each other. So where we assume, and it probably was true, we didn't know that there may have been a further motive, but to protect Joe from prosecution, his Department of Justice waived prosecution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making it appear like they're protecting a Democrat. In fact, they did, but it's in fact that exact bullshit that they're going to use against him if he didn't drop out. They forced Joe Biden out of office. They had him trapped. So what Joe Biden did in retaliation was he named the nominee. He decided he was going to call it Kamala because Kamala is also part of the Clinton clan. Or willing to join the Clinton clan or do whatever Kamala has to do to get what she wants from all of this. You follow me?
Yeah.
And that's the rift within inside that party. Now here's something else too, folks, because this goes even further. If you want to look at, is this making sense, Cletus? Is this?
No, I'm following.
Do you see where I'm making connections within political parties?
Yeah, it's a
And how
fucking
political parties both work. They both work together, right? So the never Trumpers and the hate Trumpers are Clintonites and Bidenites. They're on that team. Some of the other ones within the Republican Party are with the Obama. In other words, there isn't, a donor for each candidate. You're all part of the system of donors if you're a candidate. And so you're going to have divisions in the party. You're going to have different funders and different ideologies and different goals and different ways to scam, rob, and take all our fucking money. But the end goal is the same: scam, rob, and take our fucking money, right?
Yeah.
Control us as a society. Monitor our travel. Limit our options. Shut us down. This is what they've been doing. This is what we've been living. And you now seeing these political connections, it becomes even much, much more intensely significant when you now look at the timing of events that just took place. So when you go to January 13th, Donald Trump had not yet named his vice president running mate. And someone tried to blow his fucking head off. And a week later, there was a convention. Or very shortly thereafter. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. If Donald Trump would have taken a headshot and he would have been down, not only would you have possibly had, and I think imminently had, protesters in the street, you also would have had an empty Republican primary. And now they would internally fight to get whoever they wanted to control the Republican Party on the ticket to run in place of Donald Trump. Fair enough.
I could see that. Yeah,
There's no other result from that.
right.
Him being shot in the head and killed, he never nominated a vice president. Not that the vice president automatically gets it, because he didn't get the vote either. See, the vice presidential nominee on a presidential ticket, the reason it comes at the convention is because he's not part of the ticket that's running to get the nominee for the highest office of the land. Only one man can occupy that. So when you campaign for delegate votes, you can't have a running mate or even name a running mate, right? That's not part of the deal, bro. You got to win first, and then you get the right to pick your running mate. You don't do it before. And the significance of that is, if you'd have killed Trump, you would have had both the opening for the president and vice president to now be nominated by the convention floor, not the American people. That's what would have resulted is Donald Trump being taken out. Now, in the inverse, anybody listening to this will then start to realize, wait a minute, isn't that exactly what's happening to Joe Biden? Isn't that exactly what's happening to the Democratic Party? Are they in fact not forcing that man not to run? Opening up the door for them to put their preferred candidate forward? And Joe stuck it to him? Okay. There's no convention. Oh, wait, has there? I don't think there's even been a convention for them yet. There's no Democratic convention, and he's naming Kamala as the candidate to run for office. Technically, the entire floor should be open, and the actual nominee should be picked. There should be a vote, a general vote, a democratic process, and that's not what's happening in the Democratic Party. That's also what would have happened in the Republican Party if Trump had been shot in the head. So my point is, folks, what I'm trying to show you is these people that we keep attacking and going after, their real crime is their eagerness to participate in the criminality of the multiple multinational corporation control of this country. These people they'll kill each other, literally. And the parties within the parties fight amongst themselves, but they're always teamed together. The Obama donors that support the Republicans, the Clinton donors that support the Republicans, and back and forth, folks. That's what your political system has become. It's become the shit show of all time.
It's become YouTube true crime. It's what it fucking sounds like to me.
So
it's drama. It's right. It's drama with zero fucking results, but massive.
But it isn't drama.
Chaos.
No, these are real life things.
They're real life
things,
thing,
right? This is real life.
Fucking. It's just a real life drama that has it has no point. It doesn't.
No, it
move
certainly
the needle.
does have a. Wait. What do you mean it doesn't have a point?
They get no results with this shit.
Certainly they do. They're conquering the living shit out of us. What do you mean they get no results? Are you serious?
No, I mean, all right. So do they get results? Yes. Do they get results that better things? No.
Well, no. This story is not about. Wait. Don't bring any of that in, Cletus. This is obviously not a story about them doing good for anybody but themselves and their corporate masters. That's all I'm pointing out. Yeah. Of course, they don't do you and I any good. That's what they get for what they're doing.
Yeah.
But again, their decisions are based on the multinational corporations that provide them the monies to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But when you look, you can actually look and see a division. And when you see the divisions, the way they actually exist and how they're all interconnected, and then you start looking at current events, they tried to blow Trump's head off. What things would that have provided them? And it's almost like now when you start looking at this Trump case again, there's absolutely errors that have to be intentional from what I've been watching on the coverage of Trump's rally. There has to be intentional acts that allowed that kid access to that building. They're saying he was on that building for fucking 20 minutes. That doesn't make any sense, bro. That just doesn't seem possible.
I mean, he wasn't on. I would be really, really hard pressed to believe that he was on that last roof for 20 minutes. Do I think he could have been on one of maybe the roof behind that had the, there was a walkway or some type of interconnect?
All right, let's say it took him 2 minutes to crawl from the edge of the roof to get to the top. They said that the shooter was on the roof, or that he was picked up by the sniper, I think, 6 minutes before he shot. So here's what I'm trying to say to you is, though, regardless of the exact numbers, when you look at what we're now being shown, there's absolutely has to have been coverage that was left open intentionally. There's too many confusing fucking errors. It's almost like I fumbled a football, and before it's ever fucking recovered, every single fucking player on the field has picked it up and fumbled it. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. I understand fumbling the ball, but every fucking player from both sides of your fucking team, they all fumble the fucking ball till it ends up out of bounds. That doesn't fit, Cletus. It just doesn't fit. It's hard not to see that there was intentional orders or there were intentional directions or people took intentional acts to give that roof an opening. There doesn't seem to be any way to argue they took all the defensive positions they could, that they used all the equipment available to them. The police department there was offering them to use drones, and they denied it. Secret Service denied the use of drones. The Secret Service actually put the cops over there in the one building that gave more. There was no way that building wasn't the best snipers fucking stand in the entire fucking area. There is no other building there that would provide that level of fucking sniper ability. He hid behind a tree. The sniper, from what I understand, is lucky he hit the guy the way he did. He had to shoot through the tree. So the snipers on the buildings behind Trump didn't technically have a direct line of sight to the guy like the people on the ground did. No, so how are all these mistakes fucking possible? How are these guys not in the room? Why did one stay back to watch the roof? Why did they make all these decisions? Why were orders given? There were supposedly, now they're saying there were Secret Service and police in that building. What the fuck's going on, Cletus?
I don't know. I'm still waiting to see a full assessment consolidated in one location, official assessment, official statement that explains everything. Because I do think that there is still potential for it to just be a severe showing of how fucking complacent and lazy we are as a society when it comes to actually doing our job.
I still find that as a possibility, but the lapses and the mistakes are so egregious and so they all focus on that roof. That's the problem. If they focused on, the guy was suspicious when he came through the gate, or there was something that his what appeared to be a bomb on the seat and nobody's flagged it. If you're going to go way back in the beginning, like the Secret Service, the kid was there 2 hours before with a drone, and he observed the site. He picked the best sniper site that you could pick because he had access to those grounds with a drone, and they knew that. And then they were offered drone coverage, and they said no. The guy shows up with a rangefinder around that building, around that fucking building. His bike is by that building. The best sniper hide on the entire site. And that's all lazy, or I sneezed, or what the fuck, I shit my pants. I was supposed to be looking out how do you explain that, bro? It's just too focused on that fucking building. Everything, every failure is about that building. But yet, that's just laziness.
So whoever came up with the fact that there were, now that we know there were two people stationed in that room with where that window was at, where you had reasonability to be able to see him. All right, I'm not really as fucked up about the fact that nobody was on the roof, because they had sight of the roof and they had just a little slight higher ground, right? So I'm really not that fucked up about the roof being empty. And at the end of the day, the first thing I need answered for me, where I'm at in my head, is, were both of those guys ordered to leave, or did they receive an order to go look for the guy or whatever, and both of them chose to go together?
My understanding at this point from the few people that have been asked that question is they were told to go find the suspicious person by that building. So they were specifically told to get out of their room. Basically, that's what it's saying. Go find the suspicious person with the rangefinder. And then got this. Here's what happens. Listen, they go out they sent them a picture. So they fucking knew what the dude looked like, or they took the picture, if I'm not mistaken. So they knew what he looked like. And then when they went outside to go find him, apparently they got distracted by rally goers that had phones and were jumping up and down. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? How does that be a coincidence of just being lazy?
Well, based on that, I don't think it's a situation of laziness in that scenario, but I do think that there is potential, depending on what the specific scenario was. There's potential for just being a fucking dumbass.
No, 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 not on an
Because I think,
security
I mean,
SWAT.
quite
No,
honestly,
no,
I
these
think
guys
you
are
put,
trained in. They're
I,
trained
I
in
think,
this. The
I
Cletus.
think you put entirely too much faith in that. I really do. Because I
So,
mean,
so
at
you
the end
think
of
a
the
man
day,
that spent his entire career going through all of this sniper training and all of this counterinsurgent stuff, actually probably most of them been in the wars. You mean to tell me that these two guys, when they knew that they had a target, they had a picture of a target, and they got distracted by fucking rally goers with phones, and they didn't divide their attention? There's two of you. You can't explain that as being lazy. That's got to be fucking. You got to be both the stupidest fucking
if they
marbles in
were
the
so
world, or
look, if they, I think you're making a lot of assumptions. If they were so highly
yeah.
trained, there's no fucking way they would have both left that high ground without an argument.
But that's what I'm trying to say. You're saying it's because they're being stupid, and I'm saying whoever told those guys to go look needs to be. That's a suspicious order. That order shouldn't have been given. They should never have left that roof. Look, you got a picture of a guy on the ground with a rangefinder by that building. How the fuck do you order two guys covering the roof to go look for him?
But that's the thing that we've never completely clarified. Was the order specific for
they
both
were told,
of them?
according to Ray or according to other testimony, they were told to go. They had a picture of the suspicious shooter,
And they
not a shooter, but
it was specifically stated for both of them to vacate that room and
yes,
go together.
Unless somebody in the audience can tell me, no, what I heard was they were given an order to go find the suspicious person. And they had a picture of him. Then when they went outside, there was a ruckus in the rally in the crowd with people jumping up and down with their phones, and they got distracted.
Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, if that order did specify both of them to leave, then that's a huge problem right there, right? That's a huge problem. That's the first huge problem. If it didn't specify for both of them to leave, but just said y'all go find them, and they should have decided operationally to split up, one stay there and watch the other one, then that's a failure on them.
Well, here's the whole point. I want to point this out to you. The whole argument I'm trying to make is that there's no room left. If you're honest about what we're watching, I don't think we should be given any accord to any fairness to the people that gave those orders and the actions of the people that carried them out. Because when you take what happened with Trump and then you see what they did to Biden, it can't be a coincidence that both of the primary people on these tickets, okay, one was a clip night and one was against them all. And those two guys were almost removed from even having the chance. Well, Biden totally removed. Trump, he would have been eliminated. And you can't see that as a coincidence and individually like that is what I'm trying to share with you. And when you look at it as a plan, it makes more sense that his security detail wasn't lazy or stupid. It was set up to be that way by someone or some people to leave that hole in that security for him to get shot in the head and killed. And it failed. It failed.
And if everything, once a full assessment is documented and sworn to and provided, it says exactly everything that you've presented, I'd agree.
Yeah.
But until then, I still think that there is potential for it to just be a massive fucking failure based on a number of factors.
Yeah.
But
I'm no longer able to maintain that fair view because I can't disconnect what they're doing to Biden.
Here's the thing. In all fairness, my view is more unfair than yours. Your view is unfair to only some people that conspired to create the situation. My view is unfair to every fucking body involved until you prove to me that you did your job. I say all of you are fucked up because it happened. Show me which ones of you I'm wrong about. And do that through a documented fucking assessment of what happened. Otherwise, you all fucked it up. Every one of you.
Well, I also suggest that if you're a team and an order is given, regardless of who answers the fucking call, you move as a team. I'm no genius, but a team is a team. And so if you're told to go find a suspicious character that you got a picture of, you move out as a team. But the problem with that is given putting only one team there and leaving no one back up. What the order should have been, there's someone coming to cover the roof, or join up with the person at the outside door. He's in blue. Join up with him and go find a suspicious person. The other guy continue covering the roof. You know you got a suspicious man around the fucking very building that gets used to shoot Trump. You do what you do. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't buy that. I can't. When you connect it to all the other political shenanigans that surround now jumping over to the Biden campaign. The people with the most power in the party did not want him to run. And they absolutely, I'm telling you, don't want Kamala. If they wanted Kamala, Barack Obama would be out there every second asking for money for Kamala. He'd be all over that, bro. And he's not. These can't all be unconnected coincidences. If they are, it's got to be asked. It's got to be larger than all the number of all matter in the galaxy. It just can't be unconnected. The way these two guys were so close to both of their primaries to get the nomination. The timing is just too fucked up, bro. Don't you think?
I don't disagree. I mean, the way it smells, it's massively fucked up. But
holy,
at the end of the day, what you just sat and described is essentially a rabbit hole based on what could be misinformation put out purposely, which we've already established has happened in this situation since day fucking one by the officials in charge, one of which resigned because of the flack she was getting. So
her flack was because she wouldn't tell us there were 8 bullets. Her flack was because
she would lie and then retract the lie and then say, then not answer and then answer and just playing fucking games, which, I mean, quite frankly, I consider that targeted misinformation. And I just can't put any faith in anything other than what we saw that day until they put something else for us to fucking read and say, okay, here's the problems with what you just presented. Go back and fill in the fucking gaps and make it make sense.
Well,
but I do agree. I do agree with what
facts exist. Listen, enough facts exist that if you just stay within the lines of the facts, and I didn't make any of these facts up. These are facts that we have available to us, not just currently with what happened at that rally, but what happened with Biden and what connections are all tied and how these two parties are intertwined, but also they're divided almost down the middle. Okay, so you have a lot of shit, a lot of moving parts here. These people do not want a Biden or a Trump in there anymore. Right? Biden was actually working with Obama. So in that respect, you did have that strong connection between those two. But you'll never see Obama connected to any of the crimes that connect the Biden and the Clinton families. That's the weird thing with Obama, which tells you that he's not in the same playground as they are. I mean, he's the guy he got his own $14 million mansion at sea level, which is soon to flood because of global warming. For some fucking reason, sea level was okay by him. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he didn't buy a mansion below sea level amazes me. I mean, why wouldn't you? Right? Have you seen that mansion in Martha's Vineyard?
No.
Oh, fucking A, bro. It's barely at sea level. But everything's gonna melt. We're all gonna drown.
Oh,
holy fuck! I just don't get it anymore. But listen, that was the whole reason I wanted to kind of run some political stuff to show the connections. When you look at the John McCain, if you remember that guy,
yeah,
and they're all connected to the Democratic Party at the hip of Hillary. You know, people you wouldn't expect: Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz. You would think, what? Huh?
Well, so here's where I go with it all in my head. Right, you're all fucked up, and let's say that you conspired, and what was supposed to have happened that Saturday didn't fucking succeed. Your entire game plan is now fucked. And, I won't argue that it looks like that to me. But what happens next? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I go with it, because it's like y'all had this master plan that was half fucking cocked. It didn't fucking work out. Now what the fuck happens? You just completely fucking unravel?
I don't think they're going to completely unravel, to be very honest with you. I think like any plan, it can foul up before you get there. So the reality is Trump will be on that ticket. As to whether he wins or not is going to be able to depend on who they actually put forward for president. At this point, we're told it's Kamala, but there's no, we'll know August 1st is the deadline for them to have. I don't even know. I don't even know, bro, how that's going to work out. Everybody keeps saying there's nothing they could do to stop Kamala, and that's just not accurate.
Well, August 1st is Thursday, so we have less than a week before it's official.
Right.
And I would suspect, based on the past 2 weekends, I got no reason to believe that it won't be this weekend that we'll find out.
Yeah. You would think within the next day or sometime soon.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wanted to challenge her as to whether they're going to be able to pull it off or not. Behind the scenes, I guarantee that's what they're working on. And I think that's what's holding back Obama's words. If they come to the point where it's inevitable, she has to be the one, then they'll accept it. And then you'll see a lot of people come out for her that are supporters of Obama that haven't come out for her. But if they got any inkling, if they think they got more than a 50-50 chance to bounce her and put their own person in there, they'll do that in a heartbeat, man. That's why I can't stand the Democratic Party. The voters' opinion has no choice in any of it. Same thing happened with Hillary and Bernie. And to think it can't happen because Kamala was nominated by Joe is ridiculous. He has no right to give his delegates away like that. We live in a very precarious time, my friend.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the fucking snake pit to eat itself, and that's why I'm sitting here like that's what it sounds like to me is happening. And I'm just like, so what's the what's on the other side of that shit? Because it's not just a group of fucking idiots arguing with one another. These are the people that we've put into fucking public office to run the country.
So here we go. So Obama endorsed her today. It's a video on Kamala's X. Today is Friday, the weekend before the convention. Okay, so it appears like there's the flag. They're not going to fight her. Watch. That guy's endorsement is extraordinarily important if you're a Democrat. You couldn't get any better endorsement, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay? No matter what you and I think of him, that's the truth. He's the idol of the Democratic Party. He makes Bill Clinton look like Bill Clinton didn't exist. So for him to give the endorsement, thank you, Bama girl. They're not going to fight Kamala. She will be the nominee. There's a lot of people screaming about it, though. The other thing, too, some of those other streams I watch, it's quite incredible to see how many Democrats are not happy with that. They didn't vote for her. Right? They threw her out.
She's a fucking idiot.
Let me see here. Hang on, one I want to.
Well, there you go, Carl. Now you've had conspiracy and bashing. You ought to be happy. I saw that comment you put up on the screen. Carl said, if I can't have bashing, I need conspiracy. So,
yeah, no, there is a conspiracy, but what I will say to you folks is there is actually a real conspiracy in what I shared with you. The connections between the Republicans and the Clintons are long established. And if you go into the Ukraine accusations in Hunter's laptop and you take the companies and the issues that they were dealing with as the Biden family and go look at Mitt Romney and John Kasich, and you look at who's that? Dick Cheney's daughter. You go look at the Republicans and see where their hands are in the money basket of Ukraine. Okay, and then look at the other ones which Democrats had their money in their hands of Afghanistan, and the Republicans and the Iraq. How they're all. So my point is that there are factions within both of these parties that strongly work together. And I call them part of the same crime cartel. I mean, I'm trying to define these I call them corporations. They're crime cartels that run this country. And these people are their fucking political pawns. They're their public face. And their infighting is just obvious. I'm glad, I guess. I'm not glad. I mean, okay, so Obama finally did endorse her, but when's their convention? Isn't it this week? Or the meeting of the delegates? Something has to come up pretty quick here.
I would imagine. I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I don't know when the Democratic convention is. Watch this shit with this woman.
As a prosecutor, and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. As the elected attorney.
Okay. I'm not gonna play anything she has to say in rebuttal to that, but those were facts that were verifiable facts, especially when it came to the weed. And that bitch smokes weed herself. and most of those, they were black kids that she put in jail in 1500. And I'm telling you, a lot of the black community knows that. That's the funniest thing about when I watch the black streamers, is they're pretty hip and schooled up on Kamala Harris. They don't like that bitch at all. They say she's not one of us. Although my understanding of Jamaica is that was an island where slaves were they were brought there and sold from there and then brought to the Americas. That's what I thought Jamaica, the role it played back then. Is that wrong?
It doesn't sound unfamiliar to me, so I can't verify it, but yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Right. Yeah. So, but those people in the island of Jamaica, though, never came here to be slaves, so that may be the very difference, right?
Yeah.
And so the people that were left there from the slave trade are a significant population, but they themselves weren't slaves in America. They were just one fucking Walmart blue light special away. Fuck, bro. Holy shit, and you're on an island. You can't even run for the border, Taco Bell. What's up with that?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Bill Clinton endorsed her quickly. The Clintons endorsed her quickly. That's a big tell, folks, when you see the disparaging time of endorsement. Obama knows he can't get the person in, or they made an agreement with Kamala and everything is going to be fine. With Joe, they had criminal. They could put Joe and his whole family in jail if they want to. And I'd be ashamed of Trump if he doesn't turn that prosecution and say, guess what? The guy took millions of dollars from Ukraine illegally. That's I don't even know what you want to call that. Espionage. I don't know what the hell to prosecute him. Trump should have the guy prosecuted if he wins. He should have all these people prosecuted. That was the problem with his first administration. He didn't do any of that.
That was my question in my head when you were talking about they chose not to prosecute Biden. Well, they can always change their fucking mind.
Yeah, there's a statute of limitations. Yes, prosecutorial discretion is what it's called.
Yeah.
Okay. And when it's used and it benefits somebody that's got millions of dollars in criminal connections to people in Ukraine while he's the vice president of the United States, I don't think the guy should be given the ability to have discretion. It should be taken right out of the Department of Justice. It should be given to a military fucking court. Fair enough?
Yeah.
And that's what Trump should do. Fuck you, Department of Justice. We're going to let the military courts look at this. Give it to JAG. And if there's crimes committed and evidence to support the charges, then that's what's going to happen. He's going to be charged. He should have done that in the first administration, and he didn't. He tried working with Bill Barr. He tried working with Comey and Ray, and he didn't drain that swamp. And that swamp has tortured him with 94 fucking criminal counts. All of them. The only criminality in the counts is the counts themselves that he's being falsely charged with. Crime is charging the guy. You love the world, bro. Everything is just, it's just not what it seems. Oh my God. But they put it all on display for us to watch. That's why I did all that connection of dots with the different political parties. These people are intertwined and indebted to crime cartels, the likes of which you and I can never even imagine. And they're the ones that make the decisions in this country. It's quite fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's
right. I mean, it's very sad.
Well, and then the question becomes, right? Has it? When did it start? Does that make sense?
No, say that again.
When did it start? When did it begin? When did we start going down this fucking road to get to the the fucking circle jerk that we're in?
Well, you know, there was a time where these companies were restricted and there were laws. And And the biggest violation of the Constitution in the country today is your freedom of speech and your privacy. They've been taken away from you by corporations. And in fact, what's supposed to happen is your government, although the Constitution is written specifically to stop them from taking those freedoms from you, they've not stepped up to stop corporations from doing it. And then these corporations became multinational. So the problem lies with legislation. And they don't want to do it, obviously, because, they're king of the fucking road, these people. They have no worry in the world. They get the best of everything. They get escorted to and fro. If they cry wolf, they'll have a private security detail given to them. They all live in these big fucking mansions. They got it all, man. And it's just sad that people would be so selfish and let so many people languish in fucking abject poverty. And I'm not just talking about America. I'm talking about the globe. We eat enough food, ain't nobody should go hungry. I mean, yeah, some of these people should be told, move closer to a source of food, not live in the fucking desert. Okay, I'm all right with that kind of shit, right? There was a comedian that pointed that out. You're hungry because you live in the desert. Move to where there's water. Listen, I'm down with that, or build them a pipeline. All right, do something. One and done. Let's get it over with there. But yeah, it's tragedy that we have people that's what happens when you get into power. Now, those cops might be completely innocent. They were told to leave that room, right? We'll never know. We'll never know the truth. But all of those failures on the protection of the only building the only thing they had to protect was that roof. And the failures just don't seem consistent with stupid. They seem consistent with almost a sense of intentionality. So it's just, and the fact that in today's day and age, right, when you've got all of the facts that you absolutely can't argue about, right? You can't argue about them falsely charging Trump. You can't argue about them faking and making up the lie about Russia. You can't lie about Biden and his kids' connection to Ukraine and other politicians that are just as criminally complicit as they are, and none of them being charged. You can go back for decades. We invade Afghanistan. We don't take out the poppy fields. Come on. The virus, all of the shit that we've endured, and all of the connections these people, it's just a crime cartel. And as Americans, what do? That's why I'm saying the only thing we really should be doing is screaming against the corporations that have the ability to censor our speech and then surround us by following everywhere we go, to the point where you and I can buy that data on anybody that's on the internet right now. You can buy all their metadata. Now, how scary is that? Right?
Yeah, that one last night kind of threw me for a loop, because what you were talking about was somebody has already went and purchased Crook's metadata, and I'm assuming when you say that you're referring to an individual.
It's a company. It's a group of people. They're online people company.
They've purchased this. They've purchased this from another company that collects said metadata. Is correct. That? Yeah. Okay.
So that's terrifying. Nobody here should have that kind of access to what you're doing, right? And then even worse, be able to just sell it. I mean,
Well, I mean, it's it's hard to bitch about something you volunteer for. You know what I mean? Like the user agreements you're talking about, it's you can't really complain about it if you sign the fuck up for it. But
let me just say, the way that the user agreements are made, right? They should be like the warning on a pack of cigarettes, right? Smoking. Surgeon General is warning cigarette smoking contains carbon monoxide. Now, I don't know what the fuck the point of telling me that is, but okay. You might have wanted to said it causes heart disease and lung failure. That might have helped me a little more. But okay. But it's pretty direct, right? Where is that in the user agreement in bold print? Caution. If you live in the United States of America, signing this user agreement strips you of your right to free speech and privacy. It should be that simple. And then you decide. And then the person that has that demand for your stuff, because I know a lot of people still sign it just to get it free because they're cheap and stupid, but they should then offer us to pay. And their business model should be based on doing business with us directly, not with being fucking taking our shit and limiting what we, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What, for the convenience of me post pictures on Facebook? Come on, man. You should have the right to know where my phone goes. Are you fucking kidding me? So you agree with that? I don't think anybody disagrees with that. The problem is, all of these jerk offs with all these big followings still aren't talking about doing anything of that nature. They hint at it. They talk it. But they don't really stick with it and make it a common fight or a common cause. So I don't know. We live in a very fucked up time. But I'm going to get completely off this topic and show you guys something that many of you would be surprised to see. And maybe even you, Cletus, maybe not. If you're so inclined.
I'm inclined.
The United States doesn't care that it's $32 trillion in debt. That's because the U.S. debt can be divided into two parts. $7 trillion of that is intragovernmental debt, which means other government agencies invested their extra profits into government bonds. In other words, the government owes money to itself. It's just a financial scheme and not a real debt. The rest of it is public debt, but $8 trillion of that is held by the Fed, which is not part of the government, but in reality, it's fully controlled by the government. The rest of it is owed to U.S. companies and hedge funds. The only real debt that the U.S. owes to the rest of the world is just $7 trillion. While it sounds like a big number, it's nothing for the world's largest economy. Have you ever wondered?
Now, did you know that the debt breaks down that way?
I did not, but it sounds like they are professional money launderers.
But that's an interesting point because people think we owe $32 trillion to China or something. They don't realize that that's not even, we owe China maybe $1 trillion of the $7 trillion owed. And we don't owe it because they lent it to us. Like we didn't go to the Bank of China and apply for a loan.
Yeah.
Okay. China buys savings bonds, American bonds. Okay, that's what China buys, and they get a guaranteed return of interest on that bond. And there's a series of, you guys have seen them, 7-year, 10-year, 20-year. You've seen what a treasury bond is, right?
Yeah.
And so they earn interest, and that money is given. They give you the $1 billion, and you give them a 7-year bond piece of paper, and then at the end of 7 years, it comes due. That's how it works. So it's not as big of a debt or as crippling of a debt as people think, because some of that debt is going to end up getting washed anyways through bankruptcies, chaos, and money laundering.
That's fucking hilarious. $32 trillion, but actually it's 7 because the rest of it is just
we owe it to ourselves.
Laundered debt we've fucking created just to be able to put that high of a number on there. So when it benefits,
no, you did hear him say hedge funds and things, right?
Yeah,
that does have some monetary value to a lot of people, right? Because if it's called in, where does it come from?
Yeah, fuck.
Right. So if everybody cashed in their hedge fund, the whole world would collapse. It'd be crazy. Anyway, the phones don't read our minds. Oh, who said the phones read our minds? That's how your phone knows what you want. Oh, it listens and there's all yeah. Anyway, folks, I wanted to present.
That's the fucking creepiest thing that to me. Like that is literally the shit that I'm just like, yeah, no. I do not fucking like that.
That it listens to you even all
like literally, and I mean I don't, I don't go as far as to shut my phone off when I'm not on it, but literally the microphone on my company laptop is disabled for that fucking reason.
Man, I don't mind if they listen.
I don't. Well, it's not that I'm doing anything that anybody would give a fuck about. It's just when I'm sitting and talking about something, and then a day later I'm searching YouTube, and I see videos related to what I was talking about 24 hours earlier, and have never fucking typed a word in.
Please, that's why we all need to man. Listen, like I said, I'll pay someone. Help me set up something that where people can put their name and we can start arguing to get these user agreements changed. This is why this happens to us. This is why these phones are listening to us. There is absolutely no reason that there can't be legislation to stop that. And if they want to argue it's going to hurt them economically, then I say, fuck you, charge me to use your service. Then if your service is so valuable that every fucking private second of my life needs to be listened to, that's an awful fucking valuable product. So charge accordingly, motherfucker, or leave me alone. I'll go somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Because like I think I got 38 friends on Facebook. I could have hundreds from all the car people I know.
Easy.
Different people online.
Easy, motherfucker.
Huh? He said easy.
Yeah, you're getting a little ambitious there to think you could have hundreds of friends.
Holy fuck. Man down. Someone called 911. Man down. He just chopped off Sarge's legs. I'm a stump now. That's what you get for making fun of his woman's hands. He chops off your legs. It's just not right. Not a fair trade.
Oh, fuck.
That's fucking awesome, bro. Oh, my God. Poor Sarge. I feel bad for myself now. Oh, boy. But the political wranglings and the shenanigans and the chaos and no matter what dots can be connected is clear as day. The simple fact in the end of the story is that none of us do anything anyway. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Maybe all this political entertainment, maybe this entertainment's the best way to go because it'll all sort itself out somehow when we're not looking. What do you think?
You won't have any idea of what's coming till you see the flash on the horizon.
Yeah.
And then you only got to fucking panic for 10 seconds. So
No, you're calling your wife, honey, come look at this. What is that?
How's
see
the
something
sun
over behind them trees as the trees are flying towards you?
Yeah, how's the sun rising when it's noon? What the fuck?
Unfucking believable. Man, I spent earlier today because I was in the pool listening to the Y files about all the we didn't land on the moon conspiracies.
Oh yeah, the compilation video.
Did you watch his whole 2-hour stream?
We're about halfway through it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When you get to the end is where a lot of things really make more sense. And the sense that he makes of them at the end is basically been the view I've had the whole time about all of this argument. There's people like now arguing you couldn't pass through the Van Buren belt, you couldn't pass through. There's radiation belts that do surround the planet. They're claiming you can't pass through them, but okay. They're making all these arguments that you can't do things, but in fact you can do. It's just shocking to me. Because if what I don't even see how they even, I know radiation is going to hurt you, but you could shield that with the Mylar shields. Gold is one of your best shields against radiation. You notice all the craft that actually are going to the moon and landing on the moon are covered in gold.
Yeah.
I didn't know that all the metals that were on the surface, all that dust is finely ground metals and glass. And so the moon lights itself up. The moon, and that's true because when you look in the sky and you see moonlight coming down to Earth, right? It's reflecting the sun, is it not?
Right, because of the silica-based nature of the dust.
It's so reflective.
Yeah.
And so when you start examining the argument these conspiracy theorists made about the photos, shadows, and other bullshit, yeah, you'll see an explanation for it that actually can be not just sensibly understood, but they can prove it scientifically. So, yeah, it's quite interesting to watch the argument. But the argument really, it gets destroyed. You'll see. It's wonderful arguments all the way through. Almost convincing to the point of like, damn, right? Like I like the one person that asked me one time, well, what do they have? Someone on the moon watching him get out of that ladder? Remember when he made his first step on the moon?
Yeah.
Well, someone had to be there holding the ladder. No. Stupid. It was an arm extended from the lander that held the camera.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all kinds of stupid shit that they use for proof that it didn't happen. And it's crazy. They just had that problem with the Mars rover where somebody had posted that there was a shadow. The light was coming from behind, pushing forward, right? Like if you had your back to the sun and your shadow goes out in front of you.
Right.
Okay. They had that kind of shadow of the rover, and the shadow appeared to be what looked like a person's shadow in like astronaut gear or something. The head looked like that, right? And what it turned out to be was the rover's camera arm. Its position in conjunction with how the shadow, the sun hit it, the light,
Right.
made it look like there was a person standing behind it. It's fucked up how light plays tricks on us.
What?
Anyway, what? Who?
Yes, I'm gonna go take a shit.
Okay.
Oh my God! Now at least 54 other people need to know that. Me being 55, but now we know.
And now we know the rest of the story, Paul Harvey.
And the rest of the story, it is. But there's some cool shit in that video. It's interesting to see both sides of the argument.
Yeah, I like that guy, but I don't know. It's entertaining.
I think he's got a place. He's got a little get on the History Channel now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like him too. He's a good presenter, and I like his stupid little fish.
Yeah, Hecklefish he's probably 70% of the reason I watch that fucking show.
Yeah.
Because I'm always interested in how many times in every episode is he gonna say phenomenon like 12 fucking times so that fish can make that stupid fucking noise, or is he gonna say something that the fish goes lizard people?
Yeah, I love when it is fucking funny, man. And he's a personable guy. You could watch. The guy doesn't annoy you. His voice is pleasant enough. I put him on in the pool and just fucking lounge around and let it play and listen. And sometimes I stop, swim over. I'm like, what the fuck was that? What did you just say? What? And you want to see what the picture is, what he's showing you.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's funny you guys are watching that too.
Oh yeah, we've been watching him for a couple of years.
Yeah, he's definitely watching it. So, well, almost time. My superpower of getting people to act childish may be soon on display. And there it is. You see? Look at that, folks. The mere thought of being hung up on is objectionable to most people, so they hang up on me first. Very, very interesting how that works. Why such wealthy people took the south bottom of the ocean. Dangerous adventure must have been. More to that story. Why? No, I imagine going where nobody else has ever gone before. Imagine going down there, Terry. That's why the rich people did that. I mean, come on, you can experience so much in life, and you might as well, if you've got a lot of money, if you can experience something one-off like that. I don't know, man. I could see people with means to have that opportunity. I could see them jumping on it. That wasn't the first time that sub had gone down there, so yeah, I don't think there's any big conspiracy there or anything too out of whack with that. I could relate to doing that totally. I mean, I went out and bought a mid-engine, which you could classify as a supercar, in 2021. I went out and bought it because the opportunity was so perfectly right that I could not buy it. And I drove it for 3 years, sold it, and made money on it. Yeah, I could not do it. So so because of that experience and others in life, I could see people jumping at the chance to go down and see that Titanic up close and personal. I mean, people would do that as a regular ride, but the depth is so dangerous. The craft you'd have to build to provide that kind of service would cost you more than you'd ever make back on the cost of the tickets, possible. So, with a PlayStation controller, which is kind of ingenious. I mean, a PlayStation controller, just so you know, I mean, it might seem funny, but when you look inside of any aircraft or you look inside of any kind of sub, the controls that make it move the way it moves are the same controls that are on that fucking game toy or that controller. They're just set up in panels. You got a throttle, you got a lever for the throttle or a foot pedal. You got a way to control direction, up, down, left, right. There's levers for that, or there's a lever for that, or there's a knob you would twist or turn. So all of those controls would have had to be built into a cockpit. But the controls that would have been built in would have operated on the exact same principle as that controller. So it's kind of ingenious that the guy did that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of being cheap too, though, Random exploding ground. That's what? They do make poor choices on petting the furry animals. They have control over that. Random exploding ground, not so much. I don't know what random exploding ground is. What the hell is that all about? I feel so bad for those tourists. You guys are talking about something different. Yeah. You were on a different thing in the chat. In any event, folks, it's been fun. It's been great. We'll talk to you. Yeah, this did sound conspiratorial. Well, all the information that I provided in there is based in fact, and tied in with some of my opinion based on observations. Observations were based off facts observed. So that's the best I can do. That's my conspiracy theory. And until next week, I believe Monday, you guys all have a kick-ass weekend. Do something fun. Scare yourself. And otherwise, take care of yourself.